first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna go over macros. So like how to calculate your macros, how to calculate your calories, depending if you want to lose weight, maintain weight, gain weight, all of that good stuff. We'll get that out of the way. And then after that, Stephanie's gonna do a thing on mindset for you guys, just kind of like for like weight loss journey, staying on track, not getting derailed, and then like when you do get derailed, how to get back on track without beating yourself up. And so anyway, so macros, what are they? So essentially, macros are the main food nutrients from your foods, like proteins, carbs, and fats. I'm sure you guys have all heard about macros. How many of you guys know what they actually are, though? A couple? All right, cool. Essentially, what tracking your macros as opposed to like a meal plan is it lets you guys be a lot more flexible with your eating. So instead of like, when you guys first start, I like everybody to start with a very strict meal plan. It's like, I tell you guys what to eat or give you options, but later on, once you're at your goal, like somebody like Kaylee, for example, you don't want to eat the same stuff over and over, and you want to get like some variety in your diet, but not gain all of your weight back. So that's like the cool thing is it allows for like flexible eating. I don't recommend it at first because it's kind of complicated, but most of you guys have been here for a while, so then it's kind of a good transition for your eating. So, essentially, so I'm going to teach you guys how to do it today. So the easiest way that I can explain it is we're going to go to bmrcalculator.com. And so, and what we're going to do once you get there is we're going to decide what your goal is. So like weight loss, maintain weight, or weight gain. I'm going to just pick somebody and I'll do it with you guys like in person here. Typically most people want to lose weight, so that's what we're going to go off of. So let's, can I pick you, Kaylee, for my example? Okay, so on that BMR calculator, so how old are you, Kaylee?
33.
Okay, 33, you're a girl. Do you want to give me your current weight?
Yeah, it's we'll say 167.
Okay, and then how tall are you?
5'8".
5'8". So your BMR, or base metabolic rate, is about 1,500 calories a day. So if Kaylee sat there on that bench all day, every day, she's burning 1,500 calories. So that's what she needs to eat to maintain her current weight. Let's say you want to lose 7 more pounds. Like, let's use that for an example. So we're going to go into weight loss mode. And then how often do you work out?
3 days a week.
Okay, perfect. So it's going to give you options when you guys scroll down on your activity level. And so we'll say 3 times per week, so that means you need 2,000 calories to maintain your weight. That's to maintain. And so for a deficit, so we're going to go into a deficit to lose weight. And so you can go up to 20% safely without losing like too much muscle. So you could eat 1,600 calories a day. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so Kaylee would eat 1,600 calories per day to lose weight working out 3 days per week. For protein, we're going to do, I recommend like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So where your goal weight is 160, you know, as an example, you would eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, so that's 160 grams of protein. The rest of her calories can come from carbs and fats. And so essentially, a gram of protein has 4 grams, or 4 calories per gram. Typically though, like even whether it be like lean chicken or steak, there's a little bit of fat in there. And so I just rounded up for 5 for easy math. So essentially we would just take 5 times your 160. I'll do that real quick. So we'll take 5 times 160 grams of protein. So you're gonna get 800 of your calories from protein. So essentially half. So now, so Kaylee knows she needs 800 calories from her protein per day. The rest of her calories can come from fats or carbs. And so it's up to you at that point to decide what you want to have. And so essentially, as long as you're hitting those calories and hitting your protein, the rest of your calories can come from essentially from whatever you want. So that's kind of where you guys get the flexibility. It's like, if I want to eat my protein today, hit my calories, but I want to sneak in a donut, you technically can. I don't recommend doing that every single day, but that's where kind of like a little bit of that flexibility comes in. It's like, I can have a donut here, and I'm still going to hit my calories. You know, you're just burning up a lot of your calories on these fats and carbs. And so you might not be able to eat much for the rest of the day after that. So does that kind of all make sense? Mm-hmm. Trying to keep it as simple as possible. So essentially, we just did our example there. So potential issues when you guys are tracking your macros. So let's say you're doing it for a month and you're like, hey, I haven't seen any changes yet. Why is that? So potentially could be you're eating too many calories. So when we figured out Kaylee's base metabolic rate and how much she works out, there's margin for error. So she might be way more active at home than we realized, and we're not adding that in. Or vice versa, maybe she's really only working out 1 day a week, just as an example. And so she needs a little bit less calories. So I recommend doing it for at least 2 weeks, tracking everything, being diligent about it. And then if you don't lose weight, or let's say you slightly gained weight, then we could decrease your calories a little bit. But you need to do it strict for at least those 2 weeks to decide if you need to make changes. So if you track your food for 3 days and then eat whatever you want the other 4 days, and then you gain weight or say it doesn't work, you really need to start over again and have those 2 fresh weeks. The other thing is, eating too few or too many, not tracking your bites, licks, and tastes. So a lot of times people are pretty good about putting in their meals, but they eat a half a cookie here, half of a Snickers here, for example, a bite of their kids' macaroni and cheese. So it's not like a lot
half
of
a Snickers. Come on.
just as an example. But you kind of get my point. So just like a few bites, 5 potato chips, for example. Well, pretty soon throughout the day, you've had an extra 400 calories that you didn't realize you got. So you're like, hey, I'm eating my calories. I'm only eating 1,600 per day, but you're really eating 2,000. And so that's another reason why you might not be losing weight when you think you're hitting your calories. Liquid calories are another one too. So same thing like alcohol. If you're having alcoholic drinks on top of this, you're going to be way over on your calories. So you just kind of need to be aware of all that stuff. A helpful hint is pre-tracking your food. So if you want to eat that donut, put it in before you eat it, and then you're like, hey, I do have the calories for this, or that way, or let's say you want to have a Snickers, for example, too. Put in that Snickers, and then like, hey, that will work today, and I can still make my protein and my calories line up, or hey, that would have put me way, way over, I won't eat it today. And so that's kind of my helpful hint there. And then the last thing, cheating. So let's say Kaylee was doing really well. She's eating her 1,600 calories every day, and then the last day of the week, she ate 2,500 calories. Like she went way, way over. And so she's like, oh no, I ruined my diet this week. What you can do is the next 5 days or so, you eat 200 less calories. So let's say that one day you ate 2,500, and now for the next 5 days, you're supposed to be at 16, but you eat 1,400. When I average out your week, you've eaten your 1,600 every day. And so that way, like if you guys do have a day where you mess up, you go way, way over on your calories, you can make, the only thing that really matters is having the end of your week average out. So if you eat, the whole week way, way over, it's not gonna work. But if you have one day where you are like 500 calories over, and those next 5 days you just eat 100 calories less than you should, that week averages out.
Can you also add in like another workout instead, like if you wanted to go on a walk?
Yes, you can. Just yes. Short answer, yes, but don't. My only thing with like saying yes to that is don't be trying to like outrun a bad diet. So don't be like, I'm gonna do 2 workouts today so I can go to McDonald's. Like, and so that's kind of like, there's like that slight margin of error, if that makes sense. So, but yes, and that's the thing too. If you were doing a double workout one day, then you should have a few extra calories. I just trying to keep it as like simple as possible, but that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So that's kind of all I had on that. I'm trying to just keep it like real basic and real easy. The biggest thing though is just making sure you're hitting your calories and then hitting your protein. And then essentially, like I said, the rest of your calories can come from whatever you want. Does anybody have any questions? Or we could do somebody else's macros for them.
Or if you want to do your own right now, go for it.
Or I can walk you guys through it too.
So,
if you guys would like to do that, yes.
I've got a question.
Okay.
So I mean, my diet's pretty consistent. I eat the same thing every day.
Yep.
3 times a day.
Yep.
I burn like 6,300 calories a day.
Goodness.
So, like, I'm
trying to get enough in.
Yeah, like, how do I? Because I can't put on weight and I can't like maintain a weight.
And what is your goal right now? Are you trying to gain?
No, I'm not trying to gain. I'm trying to stay at 190.
Okay.
Or 185.
And
right
do you
now.
see yourself like slowly losing?
Yeah, so I'll lose down. I'll come down to 180, drop down to 180, and
Yep.
then I start losing muscle mass.
Right.
So I can't eat enough.
Well, he comes home on the weekend though and binges
Yes.
like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's usually healthy food, but he still binges on it like crazy.
Yeah.
So my biggest recommendation for that is, I'm sure you're probably already getting enough protein in,
Probably, I don't think so.
Do you ever track it?
Not really, but
So that would be the first step I'd recommend. Just track everything you eat so you can see what you're consuming. And then is it too hard? Like, do you feel full? Like, and that's why it's so hard for you to eat?
no.
Too
So
easy?
everything I'm eating it's usually canned,
Okay.
or I can't. I'm living at work,
Right, I get that.
so I can't cook for myself. So everything's out of a can. Is there a simple way to get your proteins, the natural proteins?
So, two options. For somebody like you, 2 pounds of meat per day would be the easiest.
Okay.
And so if you ate like a lean, like an 8-ounce steak with breakfast, something like some type of 8 ounces of tuna at lunch, some type of like protein for a snack in the afternoon, and then like an 8-ounce steak at dinner, you would hit your protein that way.
And again, this is I can't cook. That's the big deal right
The
there.
other thing,
A microwave.
the easiest would be supplements. And so like they have like, I even have one because sometimes like when I'm trying to gain weight, I get so sick of like eating oatmeal, like my stomach feels like it's gonna explode. And so they do have like these carb replacements where essentially it's like a protein shake. You scoop out so many scoops, like whatever you need for the carbs, and drink it. And so that's what I do some days just to give myself a change, and then it's so much easier for me to get my calories in.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Matt, do you have access to a microwave?
Yeah, I have a microwave. That's it.
So another option is frozen meals.
Okay. Okay.
So like what Prestige Labs, a supplement line offers meals you can just freeze and heat up whenever.
And are they less processed than, like stuff you get at the grocery store?
Oh, yeah.
or-
Oh, yeah.
I think that's my biggest issue is the processed food. Is you're
Right.
not getting the natural proteins and fats that you should, even saturated fats.
I would say the prestige ones are the least processed ones I found.
Yeah.
And so I keep those for backup myself too.
Where do you get those?
Same place that orders our supplements. We can get them for you guys if you want.
You have a catalog?
No, I don't. We can go to their website. Yeah, we can go to your website or just remind us and we'll sit you down and we can kind of go through. They have like 10 different meal options. So, and then if we're going to go into that stuff, I essentially keep like 5 to 10 of those in my freezer. So that way if we run out of prep food during the week, I know I have something healthy and same thing, I can microwave it and it's ready in 4 minutes. And so I don't recommend eating those like every meal, lunch and dinner, but I totally keep those for a backup because they never go bad in the freezer and then they're always there if you run out. And so, yeah.
Do they have vegetarian options?
No.
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 I'm sorry. There's being vegetarian's harder.
Yeah.
It really is. Anybody else have some questions, or would somebody like me to do their macros and their calories real quick?
I like connect online in here.
For the BMR calculator? Well, I just did yours the other day with you.
Yeah.
When you were talking about putting in the activity level, is just looking at this little graph down here? Is that what you
Correct.
mean?
And so that's
Not
where that
actually
margin
doing anything.
that's where that margin of error is. So I recommend for most of you guys, put in that you work out 3 days per week, and then you can subtract 20% for that. So let's just say it's giving, what's it saying for you for 3 days a week?
21, 22.
Okay. So essentially it'd be 1,700 off the top of my head. I'll make sure. 2,100 times 0.8. So 1,680 rounded up to 1,700. So that's where you would start at. But like I said, if you do that for 2 weeks straight and you're like, hey, I haven't lost any weight or I gained a half a pound, then we would lower it a little bit. Or vice versa, let's say you lost way too much 1 week, then you're like, I could probably eat a little bit more.
Okay.
Anybody else? So does that kind of make sense for having how to do that? If you guys have questions, please reach out. We can do it real quick. Or like I said, if you guys want to do it, I'll help you guys real quick too.